Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming this morning. Standing with me today are people who are dedicated to helping residents across our corner of our city, and two of my colleagues who are great partners in this on the Rochester City Council, our Council President, Miguel A. Melendez Jr., as well as the Northeast Council District Representative, Michael Patterson. And today, we are announcing the launch of a new community engagement program, a program I've been excited to launch since the day I took office, and we are calling it Neighbors in Action, or NIA. Flip that over so that way the media can get a nice Neighbors in Action. And we are drawing inspiration from the Swahili term Nia, which translates to purpose. Nia, as many of you know, is a core principle of Kwanzaa, encouraging both individuals and communities to find and pursue collective goals. This new initiative is designed to empower residents to come together and take purposeful action toward beautifying and strengthening their neighborhoods. As you may remember, the neighborhood component was included in our 24-25 budget, but we didn't have the name. So here's the name. It's rooted in the tradition of communal growth. The program will serve as a platform for residents to contribute to neighborhood development, development projects, and foster collaboration and progress throughout the city. Now, NIA is based on the Neighbors Building Neighbors program, which was launched in 1996 by one of my predecessors, Bill Johnson. I was involved, believe it or not, almost 30 years ago, as the youth representative on the southwest side of the city of NBN back in the day. And as some of you may know, in the 90s, NBN was recognized nationally as a model for government and civic participation. It inspired and supported hundreds of projects across the city, ranging from beautification initiatives to enhanced public safety. NBN was an incredible program that 30 years later is still being continued by some of its neighbors. So if you go over in the Southeast, is it Sector 6? Sector 6, they're still meeting, even though the program kind of got scuttled back in the mid-2000s. That group was still so strong that they stayed together and continued to meet. Also in the Southwest Common Council is what it was called, which was what I was a representative on as a young tyke before I could even drive. Those folks still get together and meet. So when I talk to my council colleagues here and the folks that you see around here, as well as I want to thank you, and I'll thank some of these folks in a second. We said, how can we bring this program back into the 21st century to refresh it and make sure that we get that same spirit of neighborhood voice here at City Hall? And so we have Neighbors in Action, which you see here. And as I said, I wanted to launch an updated version of this, NBN, since my first day as mayor. So the question was, how do we make this great idea? How do we take this great idea and implement something that works for the city and its residents decades later? It's hard to believe that this program started that long ago. And as I talked about creating a new version of NBN with city staff and local organizations and business leaders, we balanced expanding the vision with the realities of a new streamlined city structure. Local partners have been at the table ideating with me. I love that word, ideating. That basically means like vision casting, right? Thinking about what this could look like. City Council President Miguel Melendez, team members from the Rochester Area Community Foundation, our CEO of the Rochester Area Community Foundation, who you'll hear from in a second, CEO Simeon Bannister, whose parents were also involved in the original Neighbors Building Neighbors process. So you see, this process has been around and in people's minds in Rochester for a long time. And our RACF board member and former city commissioner, Tom Argus, who's also here in the audience, I think he's back there, he helped facilitate. Let's give Tom a round of applause. We love Tom. Tom has served kind of like a senior advisor to me. And also team members from ESL Federal Credit Union. I thought I saw Eric Van Dusen. He's hiding back there. I don't know why he's not up here, but he's hiding. Eric should be up here because this was like the core group of these folks. They met at the Community Foundation for almost a year. almost a year talking about this launch of Neighborhoods in Actions. And together we brainstormed some basic tenets of the Neighborhood in Action program in which residents and neighbors will be able to apply for city resources and small grants to support community-driven projects. But to finalize the details of the program, we're asking for input. We're asking for input from community members via a survey and public meetings. So today I'm asking every resident, no matter if you rent a home or own a home, and no matter what neighborhood you live in, to please join us to have your voices heard. We want you to take an online survey, cityofrochester.gov/NIA, NIA. Then throughout October, we will host a series of in-person community input meetings. And you will all have this in the press release that will be going out. Thursday, October 10th from 5:30 to 7 at the Ryan R. Center. Tuesday, October 15th from 5:30 to 6:45 p.m. at the Arnett Branch Library. Thursday, October 17th from 5:30 to 7 at the David Gant R. Center. And Tuesday, October 22nd from 5:30 to 7 at the Edgerton Stardust Ballroom. So these are where we will be having these input sessions in addition to the survey as we flesh this out. I want to have our council president just say a few words, give his thoughts about this. He also came up through neighborhood organizations, being involved in the neighborhood. And I'll just say this. Often what we have and why I waited to launch this program is that we have too many people speaking for people that live in the neighborhoods, and they don't live in the neighborhoods, y'all. They don't live in the neighborhoods. And I'll have Mike Patterson talk about this from the Northeast perspective in a second. But before I turn it over to our two other speakers, I want to turn it over to our council president, Miguel A. Melendez, who has been on the planning process for this and has been very supportive of this effort. Mr. President.
Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, everyone. This is an exciting announcement. About a year ago when we started this process, and really it's been in the last couple budgets where we've been thinking about NBN and what it could look like. We really started from the ground floor and not trying to reinvent the wheel. We know that we've done this type of initiative before in the city of Rochester. We draw on experts that are in our community. We have funders that know how to do this work, how to get money and resources into the hands of people in our community. And frankly, in a post-pandemic world where we've been isolated and disconnected for so long, it was important for us to begin the process of investing back in neighborhoods again. And when I say that, I mean in the people in neighborhoods who can make a difference. I always tell people, give a resident $500 and they come up with a plan, they will work wonders in their own neighborhood. They will come up with ideas that you would never think of as an individual who's in government or elsewhere, just because they have connections, they know the people around them, they could build bridges, and they could think about some of the challenges that are most important to them that will bring people together in their own neighborhood. So this endeavor that we're starting, that we're kicking off, where we're getting more public input at this point, is going to be a transformative process for neighborhood reorganization again. We know that we've lost some of our social cohesion as part of being isolated and away from each other. And this is an opportunity for the neighborhood groups to become active, or for those that are already active, to become more engaged and to have resources to do small projects that are important to the revitalization of communities. So I want to thank the administration, thank the mayor, all those on the planning team, our partners that are helping us with the funding mechanisms, and we are excited to launch this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And he brought up a great point. I mean, there was a book that was written a long time ago called Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. And what it talked about was the decline of civic participation, but more importantly, to his point, to the president's point, of that civic cohesion. That and it was called Bowling Alone because back in the day there were all these bowling leagues where people would bowl, and that's how they connected and how they got connected. But if you look at bowling participation, that has gone down, and you could say that also for neighborhood connectivity. Oftentimes we don't know our neighbors anymore because of the pandemic, or we don't connect the way that we used to. Years ago in this city, there was not a block that did not have a block club. From you could pick any street, Earl Street, Hamilton Street, any street had block clubs. So we know that times have changed, But what hasn't changed from the conversations that we've had with people who live in the neighborhoods is that they are always looking for ways to stay connected. And I wanted to have Council Member Mike Patterson say a few words from the Northeast perspective, because there was a time when the Northeast had tons of community-based organizations that were neighborhood-led. They're trying to get back to that. They're one of the fastest growing areas in terms of populations in the Northeast, but we want to make sure that we give resources to neighborhood-based organizations where they can come up with great ideas. And you'll be surprised what $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 can do for a neighborhood, as the president said. So our Northeast representative, Michael A. Patterson, who has seen some of these groups come and go in the Northeast, and what we can do to get that neighborhood pride back up again. Mr. Councilmember.
Thank you. So, like the mayor and many other folks, in my youth, I participated in the NBN process. Happy to see Tom Hargest here and everybody involved. But, you know, what I really want to stress to the community, and not just to the folks in the Northeast, is please, please, please come out and participate in this process. Please take the survey. Please come out to the community meetings. You know, I'm happy that the mayor said that it took him a little while to come up with the name for this organization. And I was amazed with the name for this initiative. And I was amazed and pleasantly surprised that he chose NIA, because it is about moving with purpose. But it's not about the city telling you what's best for your community. It is not about a loud screaming voice from outside of your community telling you the direction of your community. Rather, it is a firm commitment to hearing you and asking you to give us the direction for your community, for your street. One of the challenges we have in the Northeast over and over again are issues with opioids. And what I hear and I hear these two competing voices on opioids. And the first voice is, oh, those poor people. And we're definitely concerned about those folks who suffer from any substance use disorder. But what I also hear from the residents of the neighborhood time and time again is that, why do I feel that you put these people, who many of whom who do not live in my community, above the needs of my community? This is unjust. This is wrong. You must stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I humbly submit to you that whatever the issue is on your street, on your block, in your neighborhood, this is the process to be heard. Please come forward. Please share your voice. Please make a demand upon your government. I often say to folks that we have a duty in government to hear all voices, and a lot of times it's hard to hear the quiet voice over the loud screaming voice. We need all of you quiet voices to come out and speak. And in saying your truth, it will be a mighty roar that we will act on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I want to have President and CEO of the Rochester Area Community Foundation, Simeon Bannister. He has hosted us at his great location to host this NIA ideation, as I called it. And but he also understands the history of this and where we can kind of take this and where we can go from here. So I want to have President Bannister from the Community Foundation come up and say a few words.
It really is a pleasure to be with you all this morning from Rochester Area Community Foundation and bring you greetings. It's also my observation that in far too many instances, good ideas have found themselves consigned to the dustbin of history. But as Maya Angelou once shared with us, just like the very dirt that one might be trod in, just like dust, it will rise. And I'm excited because this is an idea that is rising again. What you have to know about the origin story for this idea is that Rochester, in many ways, is a community that was ahead of its time with the implementation of tools that would allow for meaningful resident voice. And the fact that we have a mayor and we have a city council that is interested in reinvesting and gathering community voice to inform the decision-making of this community is an exciting proposition indeed. Now, at the Rochester Area Community Foundation, we have the good fortune of being the largest funder in our region. And we've been able to kind of keep the proverbial light burning. Even as MBN came to its close, we've been able to continue to fund Neighbor Good as an effort to drive more dollars into the hands of residents to make determinations about ways to improve their own community. And what's super exciting is to reconnect, to add some gasoline to that pilot light, and to get this effort even more robustly growing in our community. Please take Mike Patterson's advice, residents. Get engaged in NIA. Make your voices heard, because what I can assure you is that the decisions that are being made in this community will be driven by that voice, and that includes at Rochester Area Community Foundation. Thank you so much, Mayor Evans. And when we were young people, kids running around Rochester, who would have known, perhaps maybe Josanne knew, I guess, that we would be here one day, and I know Tom Argus knew, that we would be here one day to bring this to life, and we're really excited to do so in partnership and collaboration.
Thank you. And you all know I'm going to say it. You know I'm going to say it. Council President might say, "Oh God, he's going to say it." It's we. It's we, not me. I mean, that's how this is going to be able to be implemented, right? It's going to be we, and this is how we're going to get the information. This is how we're going to be able to roll it out. But I was here earlier today, and I said to folks at City Hall, we have thousands of employees that work for City Hall, and I said to them, you each have one individual job that you do, but the impact that you can have is powerful. It's so monumental. And I say the same thing to our residents. Our residents may not be on the news. They may not be written about. They may not be celebrities, but the stuff that Miss Jones might do on Smith Street has a monumental effect on what happens on Smith Street, right? Or what the Scranton Street Block Club might do, what they do for that block. That's a big, big deal. Or what the North Winton Village community does in terms of beautification. You may think, oh, that's the residents at North Winton Village may think, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing a community garden. But that changes the neighborhood. These little acts that neighbors can do can have a huge impact. And sometimes people will say, if we just had $500, if we just had $1,000, I mean, I've had neighborhood organizations tell me, or people in the neighborhood say, $1,000 is a big deal for us. $2,000 is huge for us. So we want to be able to support that, but we want to do it in a way to make sure that it has that impact. So we ask all residents to go to cityofrochester.gov/NIA to take the survey, and to go to, we have 4 community meetings in all quadrants of the city. We ask everyone to go to those meetings to make sure that they have their voices heard. And then guess what? That's not the end. Then everyone that's here, everyone that's standing here is gonna then come back and be here. And some of the folks you see here around us are NSC folks. They lead our neighborhood service centers because they too are looking to be re-engaged as well with this process. And it's important that we build this program together so that we end up with what you and your neighborhoods need. So please take that survey. And remember, NIA will be open to all city residents, neighborhood associations. I see some of my neighborhood associations out in the audience. We thank you, we love you. And local organizations, and anyone who is passionate about making Rochester a cleaner, safer, and more connected city. I always tell people, we got to get off Facebook and meet each other face to face. And we just haven't been doing that. People are sitting in their pajamas, eating Fruit Loops, and posting on social media. It's like, that's fine. We want to do that too. But we want people to get off their porch, and we want people to connect and be together. The future of our city is in all of our hands, not my hands. It's in all of our hands. And we're going to move with purpose. We're going to move with NIA. And with your help, I know that we can make it the best it can be. I want to thank all the folks here, all the folks out there for all of your commitment to this community. We have so many neighborhood organizations that are doing work on a shoestring budget. Imagine if they just got just a little bit of extra. We're not talking about millions of dollars. We're just talking about a little bit of seed money to be able to help them take that project to the next level or engage that person at the ground level in cooperation with City Hall. And I'll end with this before I open it up for some questions, some on-topic questions, then I'll take some off-topic questions. I said at my inauguration, I want to have an army of citizens with City Hall as your partner. I said I want to have an army of citizens with City Hall as your partner. And we believe that this is one mechanism and one way to be able to help move that forward and to support and reward the work that many people are already doing in their neighborhoods right now without anything. Imagine when we connect all those things together. And I want to thank the group, the work team that really worked on putting this together, because as the president said, they spent almost a year saying, okay, how can we bring this together? And when they told me what they had been doing, I said, man, they had a purpose. And that's how I said, Swahili, Nia means purpose. Purpose. There it is. And by the way, words matter. Words matter, ladies and gentlemen. What we say matters. And the Northeast Council representative said it. Purpose. We want to move with purpose. So thank you all, everybody, for being here. And I will open it up to a couple of brief questions if folks have any.